Hey guys, Lord Deathman here, welcoming you back to another edition of the Review of Champions. In this week's installment, we're discussing the second episode of Marvel Studios' animated series, What If? The show got off to an action-packed start last week with What If Captain Carter were the first Avenger? This week's episode, What If T'Challa became a Star-Lord, sounds no less intriguing, and we're going to get right into it with the champions in just a moment. So sit tight. In the meantime, I have an offer to make. If you push the subscribe button, two things will happen. First, someone somewhere in the world whom you do not know will die. Second, you will receive a payment of $1 million. You have 24. No, I'm kidding. None of that is going to happen. That was actually the plot of a 2009 film called The Box. This is reality. To be clear, if you hit the subscribe button, no one will die and you won't receive a payout, but you will feel a huge sense of accomplishment. So go ahead, hit the subscribe button. There is absolutely nothing to fear. All right, let's do a quick round of introductions of the panel today. Joining us from his throne room on Sakaar, we have the Grand Master. How are you doing today, sir?
Good evening, and I'm doing okay.
We also have with us today the fan without fear, Mr. Taylor.
Hey, I'm like a good old rock and roll road show. Got to go today, so let's do it.
Right on. Right. And joining us from the MCU's Bleeding Edge and honorary champion, we have Mr. Jeff Sloboda. How you doing today, Jeff?
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Happy to be here. Happy to be here as always.
All right. Let's dive right into it. I want to start with the Grandmaster. Give us your thoughts on this episode, which had these incredible action sequences, these unexpected characterizations of well-known characters, and frankly, our last performance by Chadwick Boseman as T'Challa. What was your take on this episode?
Well, I want to start with the last part. And from the moment you hear Chadwick Boseman's voice, and it's only his voice, this episode already got very emotional for me personally because, he died way too young. I think we can all agree on that. And that intensified the episode for me. So maybe I'm not completely neutral when I do my review. I thought it was totally awesome. I loved every aspect of this episode, and I loved the Howard the Duck thing. I loved what they did with Thanos. It's from start to finish. You have Korath turning into a major T'Challa fanboy. Nebula flirting with T'Challa. There's just too many great things happening, and the ending when they land in Wakanda, and it's just too great. I absolutely love this episode.
Yeah, I did get a little misty-eyed too, hearing Mr. Boseman do his final take on T'Challa. I think we have a few more voice appearances in the series coming up, and I'm going to savor them. But I was also a huge fan of the episode. But it's not about me today. It is about the panel, and I'm going to turn to Jeff. Tell me, how did you feel about what if T'Challa became a Star-Lord?
Well, he's going to be on 3 other episodes, from what I understand, in the What If series. In some way, he's going to be also a member of 3 other episodes, so which is great. I think it's great that they're going to bring him back around that much. But I mean, I felt basically the same way that you guys felt. You know, I felt like an emotional connection. He definitely, we lost him way too young, and I felt like the story was very interesting. The only thing I didn't like about it was just the fact that they kind of depowered Thanos a little bit. He seemed like he wasn't as tough or as strong as he was in the MCU. So, that part I didn't really care for very much. But overall, the whole episode itself I really enjoyed. I thought it was a lot of fun. And it was a really, really great story overall. Really fun, really interesting wrinkle. That the Ravengers becoming good guys. It was interesting.
Yeah, I have to agree. The Ravengers as kind of proxies for the actual Guardians of the Galaxies kind of made sense. This whole episode, in terms of like having a kind of weird premise on the surface, totally pays off on the idea of doing something that is truly in the spirit of the Guardians of the Galaxy. Although, you know, I had my valleys as well as far as the episode goes. But let's move on to Taylor to get general impressions on this episode.
Yeah, overall, I enjoyed the episode. It was fun. It was good seeing all the different characters, the ones we've seen in the MCU before, including Howard the Duck. I thought there was some good humorous parts to it, some nice action, decent story. So yeah, overall, I liked the episode.
What did you think of the characterizations in terms of them pivoting on a lot of characters that we kind of know as villains, turning them into heroes, other characters going from, you know, heroes to being slightly more villainous? Do you think that they really hit all the marks with changing those things?
Well, I was going to hold this for the what you didn't like about it segment, which I can if you want. But,
no. Go ahead. You can give us the top line, and then we'll expand on it when we come back around.
All right. Well, first of all, you know, I look at these as 30-minute what if, little sideshows, you know, little stories adjacent to the MCU universe. They don't impact anything in the larger MCU universe, so they don't need to be taken seriously. They're meant to be taken in fun. If I were to take them seriously, though, if they did try to make this something relevant to the MCU, I would have some issues with the characters in this episode, and we can get into more detail on that later.
All right, but you've heard it here from the panel, and it sounds like we generally have another great episode of anthology-based animated fun from Marvel with the What If series. So, and everybody's really kind of feeling the feels as far as Chadwick Boseman goes. But now I want to take a round with the panel to really deep dive into it. You know, tell me about what you liked about the episode, maybe what you didn't like, and if you're up for it, let's get a grade on this episode. See how it compares to the first one, and you know what kind of potential you think the series might have moving forward. I'm going to start this time with Jeff.
Let's see. Well, if I had to give it a grade, I'd say I would give it maybe an 8.5 out of 10. Just because, like Taylor said, I know that it's just fun. Like, I get that, but still, I was a little bit disappointed with the way that they used Thanos in the episode. I didn't really like it. But overall, I really did enjoy it. I feel like, as far as what I expect from the series moving forward, I think that there's a lot of stuff ahead of us that seems very interesting to me. I want to see the Marvel Zombies deal. You know, I'm probably a little bit biased on this episode because it was T'Challa. So, you know, I mean, overall, I thought it was a better episode than the Peggy Carter episode. I will say that. You know, again, like I mentioned, as far as like maybe my least favorite thing with the episode was just how the way that they portrayed Thanos. I didn't like it very much.
Where did they lose you with nice guy Thanos? Is it just because he just doesn't have that kind of presence?
He was powered down. I didn't like it. He fought two of the Black Order, and they beat his ass. Like, he couldn't handle it.
Well, and the Black Order's tough customers, I mean, in their defense, right?
Yes. But I feel like MCU Thanos that we know of would be able to take on two of the Black Order by himself.
Right. I am going to agree with you there slightly, but I do think that a lot of the power you see in Thanos in the mainline MCU really comes from his will and his resolve to follow through on this incredible sort of mission that he has with the Infinity Stones. And that's what just kept pushing him to go after all of these guys that might be slightly outside of his weight class or equal to him. But without that resolve, right, him being more of a nice guy, not to say a pushover, I would say you're just not getting the same level of fighting prowess. But I totally hear where you're coming from, Jeff. Did anything else strike you as odd about the episode from the dislikes? category?
No, I mean, everything else came together very well. The way that they wrapped it up with them showing up at Wakanda, like Grandmaster said, that was really touching. Really nice way to conclude the episode. I thought it was interesting what they did with Nebula. The interesting take on Nebula, kind of what they gave us for Nebula. I felt like the Collector was a little bit more hardcore in this universe than he was like in the MCU. Like he was a little bit more of a badass.
Formidable physical threat there.
Yes. But yeah, I mean, really, I thought everything else came together very well.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds good to me. Yeah, like I said, can totally agree with you on the Thanos thing. I was a little nervous about the idea that T'Challa would want to leave a place like Wakanda and take off with the Ravagers. I was like, Wakanda's perfect. Why would you want to leave there? But that might be the very reason that you want to take off and kind of see the rest of the world if you're that sheltered. But thanks for the comments there, Jeff. I'm going to jump over to the Grandmaster to sort of let me get your highlights, your highest highs in this and your lowest lows, and see if you can throw in a review in there while you're at it.
Well,
a grade, I mean, specifically.
A grade. Well, I'm gonna rate this episode a 9 out of 10. I keep the 10s in my back pocket for now. I absolutely love the episode. There's not much I didn't like about it. Like Jeff said, Thanos was a bit weak compared to how I, as a non-comic book reader and only MCU fan, see Thanos. I mean, the guy smashed the Hulk to pieces, man. He is super powerful, and yeah, I'm sorry, his children didn't seem that powerful to me during the Infinity Saga. So yeah, I have to agree with Jeff here. That is a minor issue. And when it comes to highs, I would say the episode was actually very written in a clever way. I absolutely like the story. Actually, it started out like it is like a parody on the Guardians of the Galaxy, but it slowly turns into like a heist movie or heist episode, and I actually liked it. And the triple cross from Nebula and T'Challa, I actually enjoyed it very much. It surprised me, and that's why I rate this episode so high, because the story actually surprised me when it came to Captain Carter last week. It was a pretty simple story, and there were some changes, of course, but it never really was a big difference in compared to the first Avenger, and this one had a lot of changes. I mean, Peter Quill has never been to Earth until the Endgame happened. T'Challa went back to Earth. There were a lot of differences which surprised me, which I really much enjoyed. So, overall, the story rules supreme, always in my book, and the story was excellent.
Outstanding. Yeah, I think that's a deserving grade. I was surprised at the liberal amount of comedy that they used in this episode and how well they actually made it work.
I want to make a point on that, actually.
Sure.
Because Chadwick Boseman as T'Challa actually wasn't all that quippy and funny in the MCU. He made some jokes, of course, in Black Panther, but in this episode he really shined with his comedic acting, voice acting, and I actually enjoyed it.
Yeah, a lot of people I was reading on social media that they were like, oh, well, he's not as talented a voice actor as he actually is, a real actor. but I felt just the opposite. I think he showed amazing range as far as that goes. But that being said, I want to turn to Taylor to get your highest highs of this episode, any lows that you might have experienced, and if you can wrap that all in a neat bow with a rating, that would be awesome. Thank you.
Okay, well, I'll start with the rating. I gave it a 8 out of 10, so I definitely liked it. I liked the humor. I liked the story. I liked how it was not, a different version of the Guardians of the Galaxy movie. It was not. It was a totally different story. I loved seeing all the characters, the major ones and the minor ones, Taserface and Nebula and Yondu, of course, played a big part in this. So I liked all of that. I liked the Collector. I liked seeing the Collector's little pink slave girl again. They brought her back. They even brought the same actress doing the voice acting that played her in real life. So I have little details like that. So again, overall, solid, enjoyable, entertaining. Like the action, like the big fight with the Collector at the end. All the different items in his collection that came into play. Those were all cool. A lot of Easter eggs there. The one thing, and again, it's very minor. Like I said, I'm giving it 8 out of 10. But and I'm going to use a word that I almost never use because I think it's overused and I think it's misused a lot. But they really Mary Sued T'Challa in this thing. All right, he's a 12-year-old boy. He's not half eternal or whatever Quill is. He's not. He doesn't even have the Black Panther magic herb superpower thing. He gets kidnapped by Ravagers, and just by his presence, he turns the entire galaxy into a freaking wonderland, basically. Okay, he even talks Thanos out of his obsession with destroying half the universe. And why didn't anyone else able to do that for 100 years? No, only T'Challa, 12-year-old T'Challa, who got kidnapped by pirates and turned them from pirates into Robin Hoods, was able to do that by his mere presence. Even his capture later on. Oh, and he also got Thanos to stop tearing his daughter limb from limb. So that was nice of him as well. And she kept her hair and looked really cool. That's good too. And then even when he gets captured, it turns out they didn't really capture him. It was all part of the plan that him and Nebula made. So nothing went wrong with him whatsoever. So that's the only problem I had. I thought it was just a bit too much. He basically, even turned hardened Kree mercenaries like what's his name into drooling fanboys over how great and wonderful T'Challa was. Some 12-year-old kid kidnapped from Earth, some Terran kid kidnapped by the Ravagers, brought peace and love and joy to the entire friggin' galaxy. Okay, so that was the only reason it lost 2 points with me. I'm like, okay, was he gonna walk on water next episode or what? Okay.
Yeah, Howard teaches him how to walk on water in the next episode, guys. Stay tuned.
Who helped a lot. He basically pointed at the door and then he started eating.
But it was nice to see him in that episode. So I guess there's really no contest for you in terms of Peter Quill Star-Lord versus T'Challa Star-Lord. Can you pick one of the over the other as a favorite?
Well, like I said, this was fun, exciting little alternate universe. What if, everything was great and wonderful because T'Challa was kidnapped by Ravagers. But of course, Peter Quill is the original, real MCU Star-Lord, so definitely prefer him because of his contribution to the bigger universe.
Indeed. And there was a moment when I was watching the episode, guys, and I felt like, am I getting Disney-fied here? Because it really felt like a fairy tale. And I was like, oh my God, man, is T'Challa a princess? But even so, I enjoyed the episode immensely. I did have a little bit of trouble with some of the characterizations. Funny guy Thanos sort of grew on me at the end of the episode, but for me it was Glamour Girl Nebula that was really like a cognitive sticking point. I just couldn't make it work in my mind. But overall, great episode. But this is not about my review. And hold the phone because we have a new player who's just joined, coming from a land down under. You better run. You better take cover. Any of you guys remember that Men at Work tune? From the land down under, we have Shadow Biz joining us. We'd like to get your take on this episode of What If. Give us your high points, give us your lows, and if you can wrap that neatly in a bow of a rating, that would also be great. What'd you think, man?
Yeah, it was a great episode. I didn't have any problems with it. 10 out of 10 straight away. It was a fun episode. It was like that's the purpose of a what if episode. Like it's like exploring different possibilities. So like I said, it was absolutely hilarious that they turned Korath into a fanboy. I did not see that coming like a million miles away. I did not see that at all. I just thought that was completely hilarious. And then like with the like there's all the changes, I just loved it. Like for example, the Collector. Like I didn't realize that he was such a powerful guy, but I looked into it and he's a pretty strong guy, and I love that they leaned into that. And it was good to see Nebula too. Like she had that kind of like obviously she had the blonde hair, and she had that kind of like gave the episode almost kind of like a film noir vibe with her character in it. If any of you guys thought that at all, but I know it just all around it just worked for me. Thanos with yeah, that was interesting as well, but it got a little bit played out with the genocide thing, but it was still funny. But yeah, it was an overall good episode. I liked it.
Wow, that is probably the highest praise we've had. So in coming late, you've come with the highest grade and the highest remarks on the episode so far. And I can't fault you. It was really, really enjoyable in the moment to watch. Any problems that I might have had with it all came after the fact and never in the moment. It's just probably overthinking it on my part. But glad to see that you had such a great time watching this particular episode. Would you want to see more of this world, this version of the Ravagers, T'Challa, Star-Lord? Do you want to see more of that moving forward in What If, or have you had
definitely
nice guy Thanos?
Give me a series. Sign me up.
Go live action,
want to
right?
see where this goes. Exactly. Yeah, definitely.
All right.
I mean, Thanos explaining that it was not genocide to, I think it was Okoye or Shuri, I don't know.
I think it was Shuri.
Yeah, to Shuri. Yeah, super funny.
Yeah, plenty of comedic moments. And really what they did with the Collector was 100% awesome. I love the fact that they showed some of the hidden tricks of this guy and made him fully like he is in the comic books in terms of a formidable presence as one of the elders of the universe. So, but guys, I don't know if we've said everything that needs to be said about this episode. Do you guys have any further comments or insights, favorite moments you want to share? All right then, guys, we have a silent panel and we have almost universal acclaim for this series. So we're looking forward to what happens next. And guys, you need to be sure to check us out on social and on Twitter and Facebook, and consider joining us on the forum at sakar.freeforums.net. I want to say thanks to the panel for joining me today. We come from all over the world, so in some parts it's really late, some parts it's super early. So thanks, guys, for joining us. And also to all you guys out there for joining us. If you are listening, consider writing a comment or asking if you can be on the panel. Just check us out on sakar.freeforums.net. Remember to be safe out there, everybody, and we will see you in the next one.